So hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel A-OneTutors. We're here to help you with your academic journey. If you like our videos, please do subscribe to our channel. Without wasting any time, let's get started with our today's topic, surface area and volume of rectangular prism. So in this specific session, we've got you covered under the surface area of rectangular prism and its volume, and some questions to augment your understanding of these type of questions. Moving on, so these are some surface level questions to give you a head start on today's concept. To begin with, here's a small hint. Cube is a special type of rectangular prism. This is all what you need to know as of now, and I'll explain everything in detail later. Looking at the image above, we've got a cube, as discussed, would be considered under rectangular prism. That's why we put a tick here. Again, we've got a cube considering to be as a rectangular prism. Here we get a tincture of triangularism, whereby we won't consider this to be as a rectangular prism. So we put a cross. This was just to clarify your mental doubts as to what rectangular prisms would look like in the further video. Here's the key, and as to our viewpoint, we see the answer that we have given are very well correlated with our answer key. Thus we are right with our concept. And please do make a note of that every slide with the question includes a detailed answer key, which I will explain after reading and discussing the question. Please be sure to pay attention to that as well. At the end of this session, you will be masters at solving the surface area and volume of rectangular prism with due perspicacity regarding the formulas and their implementation in questions. Now, let's learn how to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. Now, as we all know, in a rectangular prism we have 6 faces, and after finding the area of each individual face will result in the surface area of the rectangular prism. Talking about that, one particular thing is to be highlighted there is to identify the faces. A rectangular prism has 3 pairs of opposite faces. Each pair consists of 2 rectangles that are identical in size. This is a net diagram of a rectangular prism, very important while explaining these type of concepts. So in future videos you'll be looking at some more net diagrams based upon different shapes. This shape, this face and this face, this face and this face, and this particular face and this particular face are opposite to each other, whereby 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 hold a true resonance with each other. Considering those points, one should also get to know what is length from this net diagram. This would be my length. This region will highlight my width, and this particular region will highlight my height, whereby this also will result to be my height. And moving forward with finding area of each face for being able to solve the surface area of the whole rectangular prism. Considering this will result me to have this area to be length times width. This to be as length times width. This to be as length times height, as this also would be considered to be as height. Then we've got 3, which is to be considered as width times height, and 4, which is similar to 3, again width times height, width times height. Now if we see, we've got 2 parts of each shape. Let's input these values into a formula. The formula will result as follows. Surface area SA is equals to 2 times length times width plus width times height plus length times height. That will be my surface area of the rectangular prism, which is in cuboidal shape. Further upon, I'll tell you about what is the exceptional case for solving the surface area of a rectangular prism. Let's augment our understanding by solving this question. So the very foremost thing is to write down the formula, which is the key to solving any type of question. So this will always be your first step. The second step would be to input the values that is provided to you. So the values provided to us are length as 12 inch, width as 6 inch, and height as 4 inches. Inputting these values into the formula will result me to simplify the things under the bracket, because under bed mass I'll have to first and start with my brackets. Simplifying the bracket would be the second last step, and then we've got our final answer. Again, the unit for surface area will be squares. So whenever we are answering, the unit will be written alongside we have square to answer with. And then the final step would be to write your answer exemplified with a statement. Again, I'm bringing up this topic because whenever your teacher will be marking your homework or your paper, they might rely on your answer sheet solely and they might not check your question paper. And in that case scenario, they are expected to know whatever you're doing throughout the process to give them a better clarity as to what you're solving. And as you know, being a teacher, I have a great experience as to how people have deducted their marks throughout the process of actually solving these type of questions. So I'll suggest you the best possible thing and please adhere to it for a better stance in any field. Now let's learn how to find the surface area of a rectangular prism, whereby cube, again as I promised, I'll be talking about how cube is considered to be as a special type of rectangular prism. And here I go. A cube is considered to be as a special type of rectangular prism because it adheres to all the defining characteristics and the geometric conceptions again related to the rectangular prism. Here's a net diagram to make our understanding easier. And there's a key concept to make a note of is each side length, which is mentioned to be as edge of a cube, is equal to each other. And again, we are well aware that a rectangular prism in and itself has 6 faces. For that matter of fact, thus I will have to find the area of one face and multiplying it by 6. Let me consider this area. Let me name the side length to be as A, and the area would be A square for this specific one. As we know, this is just an abbreviation, this part, because it will be obviously written as A times A, which is A square. And then now that I know the area of this specific part, which is one face of the rectangular prism, now I'll be able to multiply this specific area with 6 to get the total surface area of my rectangular prism of cube. So this will be your surface area of a cube. Moving on to the questions. Here's a very well question defined. The side length is 8 centimeters, which is this. Now, as we know, the very first step is to mention the formula, as it's the key to solving any type of questions, and I'll always recommend you writing the formula first. Then is inputting the values. The third step is to simplify the bracket and then times it by 6 as mentioned, and then you have your final answer. And after that, you exemplify your final answer with a statement to give it a better clarity as to what you're finding, to help your teacher, and it will save you from any deductment in the mark. Let's try some questions. I'll read through the question and we'll together solve these questions. Sarah wants to decorate her cereal box with colorful wrapping paper. How much wrapping paper does she need to cover the entire box? Now here the word wrapping signifies that they'll be covering the whole entire box, which is the outer surface of the box, with paper. That will lead me to go through the formula. Area of the rectangular prism, which is 2 times length times width plus height times length plus width times height, and timesing it by 2. And this is the cuboidal rectangular prism. And then we've got a different one named after as cube, which is different from cuboidal. They are different. Again, they've mentioned as the width, they've mentioned as the length, they've mentioned as the height. Alongside with that, we are also provided with the unit that we need to use. Moving on to the answer key, the foremost step is to give the formula, inputting the values. Third step is to simplify the bracket. Fourth step is again to simplify the bracket and timesing it by 2. The last step would be to give your answer with the right unit. Again, square will be mentioned as explained earlier, and then a statement exemplifying your final answer. Now let's learn how to find the volume of a rectangular prism. Now to find a rectangular prism's volume, one needs to multiply the length, width and height of the specific shape to get the volume. Again, they've mentioned each specific label has to be height, which is 4 feet, width, which is to be 1 feet, and length to be as 5 feet. Multiplying those with a given formula, again this is the first step, inputting the values and then your answer with a statement. Let's find the volume of a rectangular prism. Again, it's a special type of rectangular prism which is considered to be as a cube. Now here I earlier mentioned that the side length for a cube is always equal, and thus it has a volume of 6 times 6 times 6, as it has no difference in its side length, whereby there is a difference in cuboidal based volume as the length, the height and the width would never correlate. That's why there is a difference between the cuboidal and the cube based rectangular prism. Again, there is a formula to be mentioned, inputting of the values and then a final answer with a right statement depicting what you found. Now let's try and solve this question to make our understanding much more comprehensive. Joe wants to make a cube container for his small toys. Each side of the cube measures 150 centimeters. What will be the volume of the container Joe plans to make? Again, we've been provided with the side length, which is always considered to be equal to each other, and the value alongside with the unit. We already know the thing that is to be found is the volume, and we know the formula for volume of a cube, which is side cube. Moving on to the answer key, let's see what they've done first. Formula, inputting of the values, then the final answer, and then we've got a statement depicting what we found. Again, these steps are very critically important as to solving these type of questions, because they will guarantee you 100% marks. And there's no one here who doesn't want 100% marks. So please adhere to the concepts that I'm coming up with so as to make your learning journey easier. Let's have a quick recap. First, we fostered some connections as to what surface area actually meant with the description. Then we went into the formulas of what surface area of a rectangular prism is, coming down to then what cube is in relation to surface area of a rectangular prism. We got to know that cube is a special type of rectangular prism as adhering to the geometric principles of a rectangular prism. Then delving into what volume had to mean, and we discussed its own description with the formulas that we need to consider. The formula for the rectangular prism, which is in cuboidal shape, had a different formula as compared to the rectangular prism which is in cube shape. Thank you so much. If you stayed till the very end, that means the video was very helpful to you guys. Your support and feedback are important to us. See you in the next one.